Are you struggling to overcome sadness? In this video, I'm going to share some very simple ideas and practices for responding to sadness in ways that help ensure that it doesn't turn into depression and to be free from the emotion of sadness as quickly as possible. Hello, my friend. I hope you are well. My name is Matt Tenney. I'm the author of The Magic of Mindful Self-Awareness: How to Stop Overthinking, Clear Your Mind, and Be Happy Almost All the Time. On this channel, I help people apply the practice of mindfulness and mindful self-awareness to be happier, less stressed, and more effective. I look forward to helping you as well, my friend. This video is in response to a comment from a subscriber who simply asked the question, how do you overcome the feeling of sadness? I think the first and most important idea before we get into any practices is to understand that sadness is a perfectly natural and important human emotion. And in fact, I don't believe that it's possible to ever be completely free from sadness. If we lose a loved one, it's going to hurt. Even if you're the most awake, enlightened person on the planet, there's going to be this emotional pain that comes with the loss of someone that we really care about. Or there are other things that can provoke this emotion of sadness. And the sadness, it has a very important purpose. So it triggers the body to slow down a little bit and process what's happening, which is very healthy emotionally. Now, what I can say is with practice and with deepened wisdom, the extent to which sadness impacts us emotionally is minimized and eventually comes to the point where sadness is just realized as a trace of an emotion where it doesn't last very long, but it still gives us a little bit of time to process. So with this context in mind, remember, if we remember that it's natural to be sad and that it serves a purpose, and this is a very important and natural human emotion, then this gives us the most important perspective on how to respond to the emotion, which is we shouldn't try to get rid of it or block it out or try to minimize it in any way. That actually adds to the suffering, and it's unhealthy. What it does is it keeps us from processing. It keeps us from doing the processing that is necessary to go on and then be very healthy mentally after some type of traumatic event or another event that could provoke sadness. So this is a very key principle, and it goes with every emotion. To be free from an emotion, the most important thing to do is not resist the emotion. We have to allow it to be there. And in fact, I would say we need to take that a step farther and actually turn towards the emotion and welcome the emotion, accept the emotion. It's almost like we have our arms open and we say, it's okay for you to be here. This is the absolute most important and foundational concept for dealing with any emotion, but particularly the emotion of sadness. We have to allow it to be there. We have to even welcome it with open arms and say, yes, dear one, what do you need? You're welcome to be here, right? And just allow it to be there. Now, that being said, there can be a point where if we are overcome by sadness, it starts to affect our abilities to interact with others in the way that we would like or to be effective at work. So there could be this initial goal of saying, okay, well, yes, I understand sadness is important and it's natural, but I don't want to be overcome by sadness, right? I don't want sadness to control me and inhibit me from having the relationships I want or interacting with people in the way that I want. So I want to go into some practices for striking this balance. So again, the most important concept is to make sure that we are okay with sadness being there. We welcome it with open arms and say, it's okay. It's natural for you to be here. You're welcome to be here. And a simple practical way to do this, beyond just the conceptual, is whenever you notice the emotion of sadness being present in the body, it could be noticed with tears, it could be noticed with just that kind of heaviness of heart or like that sinking feeling in the stomach. If it persists, it can then move into this more of a low energy state. As soon as we notice that sadness is happening, we do need to take time to allow it to come up and allow it to be there and not ignore it. So this could mean that if we're at work or if we're having an interaction that we might need to say, you know, I need a few minutes to just to be by myself, and maybe go outside for a walk, which is actually the best thing you can possibly do. If you can't do that, maybe just sitting still inside. But in either case, when you're alone, you could mentally note in your mind saying, okay, sadness, it's okay for you to be here. Notice what the symptoms feel like. Where do you notice sadness? And you could even maybe not, you're smiling to the sadness, not to get rid of it, but maybe give the sadness a little bit of a smile, just to really be sure that you're okay with it being there. And say, okay, I can smile to this tear. What does the tear feel like? And we're not trying to hide the emotion of sadness. We're not trying to just immediately switch it out for happiness. But this smile is more of a smile of compassion, right? So we're smiling to the tears, smiling to the sensations of sadness in the body. And as we're doing this, you'll notice there's a little bit of lightness, okay? We're not resisting. And then what we'll also start to notice is that the trigger for sadness is thoughts in the mind. So as you start to notice the symptoms in the body and you allow those symptoms to be there, you'll also notice that there are thoughts that are triggering the sadness. And we can do the exact same thing with the thoughts. So you just notice, oh, here's a thought about whatever it is, fill in the blank. You allow it to be there, then return without trying to get rid of it, without blocking it out, without trying to change it. Just say, it's okay for you to be there. Then open up your awareness so that you're also aware of your body and the sensations of sadness. Now, we don't want to just dwell on the sensations of sadness necessarily. So you can notice them and then also notice what are some of the neutral sensations that you're experiencing. In my case right now, I feel my feet on the ground. I can see trees. I can hear birds around me. So I'm just tuning in to what is actually coming in through the senses in this moment. And then what you'll find is that if you're really noticing what's coming in through into your senses, the neutral sensations as well, is that the brain is getting this real-time information that there is no trauma happening now. There is no negative event happening now. Things are okay. And this isn't a conceptual thing. This is just what happens naturally as you become aware of what's coming into your senses, is that your brain gets the information that it needs to tell it that it's safe. And the emotion it continues to calm down. So my suggestion is you do this practice, again, whether sitting still or walking outside, and it's just this shifting from you're noticing the sensation of sadness in the body. Once you notice them, you allow them to be there, open up your awareness so that you're aware of what other sensations are coming in, or what other sensations you can notice, the neutral ones. If thoughts arise, you allow your awareness to accept those. Okay, here's a thought about this or that. And what you'll start to notice as you do this practice is that the thoughts start to calm down, and eventually they might even cease. And even if they don't, as long as there's enough space around them and they're coming fewer and farther between and you can see them as objects, this is the most important part. It doesn't matter if the thoughts completely go away. What's most important is that sometimes the thoughts can just feel right here and we're just dwelling on these thoughts of whatever it is that's triggering the sadness. And as you become more aware of what's in your body and what else is coming into your senses, you start to have this more objective view of the thoughts. And it might seem as though, oh, the thoughts are over here. And they come up and they pass away. Another one comes up and it passes away. And you're not doing this. You're not trying to make them go away. It's actually by bringing them up and saying, oh, here's a thought about this. It's okay for you to be here. I'm going to allow you to be there. And then open the awareness once again to whatever's coming in through your nervous system, through your senses. That's what allows the thoughts to come up and pass away on their own. You don't have to do that. And with time, if you stick with this, though, you'll reach a point where you don't feel sad anymore. And you didn't try to get rid of it. You didn't try to get rid of your thoughts. You just allowed it to all come up naturally. And this is very healthy. Now, if the sadness is very strong, you might have to do this multiple times. And it's important multiple times each day. And it's very important that you do, right? Even if you're at work. I've had employees dealing with this before. Team members that work in my company where they've lost a loved one, and a week later they're trying to come back to work, and they're trying to do a full day of work. And I remind them that what's most important is not the work right now. What's most important is helping you heal, helping you process this, because this is a very important part of your life. So take as many breaks as you need to. And I would encourage you to do the same. Try to find ways. Every time you feel the emotion of sadness come up, don't just ignore it and try to distract yourself with something else. Allow it to come up. Process it. Allow it to be processed, to be most precise. You don't have to process anything, but just allow it to be processed. Allow it to come up. Do the practice we just described. Now, one other thing that can be very, very helpful is once you've gone through this process of the practice we just described, allowing the emotion to come up, allowing the thoughts to come up and arise and pass away. Now what you can do is, sadness is perpetuated not just by thoughts, but also by a low energy state. And this is how it can transition into depression, is as we become lower energy, we do less things, we become more sedentary. That makes us less energetic, more caught up in our thoughts, and it can spiral into a depression. So as you do this practice we just described, which is why I mentioned ideally you should do it walking outside, once you feel like there's some freedom, try to make sure that you're not sedentary. Spend less time in front of screens, spend less time indoors, try to spend more time outdoors, and ideally exercising. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to go run a marathon, you don't have to be fit to do this, but 30 minutes of really, whatever is relatively vigorous for you, even if that's a fast walk. Because what happens is that starts changing your brain chemistry. Your brain chemistry is telling you, okay, I need to just lay down. I feel tired. I don't feel like doing stuff. I need to just lay down. And if you listen to that and you do that, then you become more tired, less likely to do things. And again, this can spiral into a full-blown depression. So once you feel like you've allowed the emotion to come up, you feel like there's some space, you're not feeling stuck in the sadness, then it can be really helpful to get that 30 minutes, minimum 20, but ideally 30 minutes of whatever's vigorous exercise for you every single day. You might even need to do it twice a day, in the morning and in the evening, to make sure that you're keeping the brain chemistry in a balance that's going to help you to thrive, to help you not get stuck and caught in a cycle of sadness that leads to depression. Now, if you follow the practice that I described, particularly with getting some exercise, you may notice that sadness still comes up from time to time. And remember, the goal is not to get rid of it. The goal is to allow it to come up when it needs to, but to not get stuck in it, right? To not have it control us, not have it get to the point where it's keeping us from doing the things that are important to us, having the interactions that we want to have with other people. So please remember that is the goal, not to get the sadness to go away. It could be that if it's a very serious event in your life, you could have sad thoughts and the emotion of sadness coming up for months after the event. It may only happen once a day. It may only happen once every 3 days, but every time it's important to be there for that sadness. Not to stuff it, not to ignore it, not to distract yourself with TV or food or drinks, but to actually just take the time, even if it's just 2 minutes, to just be with it. To say, sadness, it's okay for you to be here. Thoughts, it's okay for you to be here. What do you need? Just be there with the emotion. This type of compassion not only helps you, my friend, not only helps you to be free from sadness, but it helps you strengthen this muscle of compassion, which is the most pleasant state we can possibly be in, and is perhaps what makes the one thing that makes life most meaningful. It's having compassion for ourselves and for those around us. I hope this video was helpful for you. If you have a question about the practice of mindfulness or mindful self-awareness, please subscribe to this channel and leave your question as a comment in one of the videos on the channel. I will do my best to answer your question or one like it. If you'd like a great resource for going deeper with the practice of mindfulness and mindful self-awareness, you might like my book, The Magic of Mindful Self-Awareness: How to Stop Overthinking, Clear Your Mind, and Be Happy Almost All the Time. There's a link in the description. Until next time, may you be happy and kind.